then the question then is, why is this happening? Why is America moving towards a wartime economy? Why are the Democrats so supportive of this war? And the answer has to do with empire, okay? So this is something called the National Defense Strategy that came out in January 2026. And this is the blueprint for how the Pentagon will fight wars for the next 5 to 10 years. This is a strategy behind the Iran war. All right, and so what we're going to do is we're going to read certain parts together to analyze how the Americans will strategize about the world moving forward. Okay, so Ivory, could you help me read, please? Thank you.
For too long, the U.S. government neglected, even rejected, putting Americans and their concrete interests first. Previous administrations squandered our military advantages and the lives, goodwill, and resources of our people in grandiose nation-building projects and self-congratulatory pledges to uphold cloud castle abstractions like the rule-based international order. These past leaders neglected and often actively undermined our warfighters' warrior ethos and our military's core, irreplaceable role, fighting, winning, and thereby deterring the wars that really matter to our people. Consequently, President Trump entered office with the nation on the precipice of disastrous wars for which we were unprepared.
Okay, so certain things to keep in mind, okay? Concrete interests first means that we have to think about resources. We have to think about concrete advantages to America. We can no longer think about ideals, okay? Second is the idea of rules-based international order, or the globalists. Before America was fighting wars for their nations, or for Europe, or for Japan, we had to fight wars for America, okay? And the last thing is the idea of undermine our warriors' ethos, okay? Undermine our warrior ethos. What this means is that before, America was bounded by too many rules, okay? What they call rules of engagement, okay? Or basically, avoiding war crimes. You were not allowed to kill civilians. You needed permission from the United Nations to fight wars. And what this is saying is like, screw that, okay? Screw rules of engagement. We should just fight wars to win wars. That means we kill as many people as we need. That means we do whatever is necessary in order to win wars, okay? So this is what the first paragraph is saying here. It's a new vision of American power. Before, it was about ideals. Now it's about interests. Before, it was about globalism. Now it's about America first. Before, it was about rules of engagement. Now it's about the warrior ethos, okay? Please continue reading, Ivory.
President Trump has decisively changed that, courageously putting Americans first to truly make America great once again. Under his leadership, the United States has the world's strongest, most lethal, and most capable military. Indeed, the most powerful military that this world has ever seen. No longer will the department be distracted by interventionism, endless wars, regime changes, and nation building. Instead, we will put our people's practical, concrete interests first. We will support a policy of actual peace through strength. We will be the sword and shield to deter war with the goal of peace, but ready to fight and win the nation's necessary wars if called upon.
Okay. So the important sentence here is, we will support a policy of actual peace through strength. What this means is that we will be so mighty, we will be so invincible, we will be so fearless that we will instill fear in others. They'll be so afraid to fight us, and therefore we'll have peace, okay? So it's the idea of hegemony. Peace through might, peace through power. We have to demonstrate we are invincible. When people fear us, that's when people will obey us. When people obey us, that's when we'll have peace, okay?
This does not mean isolationism. To the contrary, it means a focused and genuinely strategic approach to the threats our nation faces and how to best manage them. This approach is based on a flexible, practical realism that looks at the world in a clear-eyed way, which is essential for serving Americans' interests. As the national security strategy articulates, this is the common sense approach President Trump has advanced.
Okay, all right. So this does not mean isolationism. It's about how to best manage them. So the idea here is that America before was engaging too many wars overseas. It was too spread out. America will now be focused on maintaining and protecting its core strategic interests. That means divide and conquer, okay? Divide and conquer, divide and rule. Okay, I'll explain this as we go on. All right, so these are the 4 strategic interests of the United States, okay? Can you read, Ivory?
We will defend the homeland and ensure that our interests in the Western Hemisphere are protected. We will deter China in the Indo-Pacific through strength, not confrontation. We will increase burden sharing with allies and partners around the world. And we will rebuild the U.S. defense industrial base as part of the President's once-in-a-century revival of American industry.
Okay, so this is it, okay? This is the plan moving forward. And already we're seeing the Americans are doing this. All right, so rebuild the U.S. defense industrial base, okay, basically means factories and resources, right? Making sure that America becomes the arsenal of democracy. Its factories produce all the weapons America needs in order to protect its interests as well as protect its allies. We will increase burden sharing with allies and partners around the world, okay? This basically means that from now on, we're not friends. From now on, we're the boss and you do what we tell you to do, okay? From now on, we'll order Japan, South Korea, Europe, NATO to do what they must in order to protect our power, and they must follow us. Basically, create a system of vassalage. That's number 2. Number 3 is we will deter China in the Indo-Pacific through strength, not confrontation. We don't want to destroy China. We don't want to hurt China, but we need China to obey us. And the way to do that is by containing China, strangling China economically, and also promoting Japan, okay? So in the future, China and Japan will balance each other out. And that allows us to rule over them, right? In the future, we America will sell resources, weapons, and financing to both China and Japan as they compete against each other in East Asia. That's how we will contain China. And then the idea of we'll defend the homeland and ensure that our interests in the Western Hemisphere are protected, okay? So basically, this means that the Western Hemisphere belongs to America. We'll do whatever we want in the Western Hemisphere. If you want to come to the Western Hemisphere, you need our permission. If you, China or Russia, you want to come into the Western Hemisphere, you have to get our permission. You have to pay a tax to us, okay? This is really, really important. Defend the homeland. Defend the homeland just basically means a police state. Before, America was too free, and therefore America was too weak. The example is the Vietnam War. When the war was not lost in Vietnam, the war was lost at home. Because you had too many people, too many young men protesting on the streets, too many rebels. If we want to win wars, if we want to project strength, if we want to create peace in the world, we need to make sure that our home front is secure. All right? And that means making sure that Americans follow the law, do what they're told. Okay? So I'll explain this more as we go along. All right, so now let's move on to China, okay? So can you read, Ivory?
Deter China in the Indo-Pacific through strength, not confrontation. President Trump seeks a stable peace, fair trade, and respectable relations with China, and he has shown that he is willing to engage President Xi Jinping directly to achieve those goals. But President Trump has also shown how important it is to negotiate from a position of strength, and he has tasked DOW accordingly. Consistent with the President's approach, DOW will therefore seek and open a wider range of military-to-military communications with the People's Liberation Army, with a focus on supporting strategic stability with Beijing, as well as deconfliction and de-escalation more generally. But we will also be clear-eyed and realistic about the speed, scale, and quality of China's historic military buildup. Our goal in doing so is not to dominate China, nor is it to strangle or humiliate them. Rather, our goal is simple: to prevent anyone, including China, from being able to dominate us or our allies. In essence, to set the military condition required to achieve the NSS goal of a balance of power in the Indo-Pacific that allows all of us to enjoy decent peace. To that end, as the NSS directs, we will erect a strong denial defense along the first island chain. We will also urge and enable key regional allies and partners to do more for our collective defense. In doing so, we will reinforce deterrence by denial so that all nations recognize their interests are best served through peace and restraint.
Okay, so again, this is a very clear plan, okay? What this is saying is this: we're going to negotiate with China, we're going to be friends, we have to do so from a position of strength. And so, what does that mean? First of it means that we will embargo China, okay? How can we embargo China? Through the first island chain, right? The first island chain is Japan, Taiwan, the Philippines, right? So if you embargo China, it means China cannot access the Strait of Malacca, which provides China with 80% of its energy needs, right? And so if you embargo China, China has no choice but to obey you. You're negotiating from a position of strength. The other thing is that we're going to enable key regional allies, and this of course would be Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, right? And this creates the Strait of Malacca. We will have these nations challenge Chinese supremacy in order to create balance, a power balance in East Asia. And once this power balance is created, they all depend on us, the United States, because we have energy, we have food, we have weapons, we have financing. Okay? So again, if you just read this, it's very, very clear what the United States wants to do, and they're already doing it. All right, so this is the conclusion, okay? Ivory, can you read, please?
Taking our nation from the precipice of a world war just a year ago, President Trump is now leading our nation into a new golden age, one defined by putting Americans first in a common sense, pragmatic, and concrete way. No longer will we squander Americans' will, resources, and even lives in foolish and grandiose adventures abroad. But we will not retreat. Rather, we will unabashedly prioritize Americans' concrete interests with an approach of flexible realism. We will restore the warrior ethos. We will refocus the American military on its core, irreplaceable goal of winning the nation's wars decisively. In doing so, as President Trump has so memorably emphasized, our purpose will not be aggression or perpetual war.